Hey everyone, Mr. Munden yet again with an IA review video. This review video is on multiplying decimals. Let's jump right into it. Trey walks his dog 9/10 miles every day. How many miles will Trey walk his dog in 32 days? Let's figure out first what operation I'm going to do to solve this problem. Looks like I want to find out how many miles in total Trey will walk his dog in 32 days. So it looks like on day 1 he'll walk 9/10 of a mile, day 2 he'll walk 9/10 of a mile, day 3 he'll walk 9/10 of a mile, day 4 he'll walk 9/10 of a mile, on and on and on. So it looks like I can do 9/10 plus 9/10 plus 9/10 32 times, or I can just go ahead and multiply. So let's go ahead and set up our multiplication. It's going to be 9/10 times 32. Couple of things that you will have noticed about how I set this up. I did not bother to line up my decimal points. The reason why I did not do that is because when I am multiplying decimals, I don't need to worry about where my decimal points are. I will place my decimal point in my answer when I'm finished with the problem. So let's go ahead and start multiplying this. 2 times 9 is 18. Carry 1. 2 times 0 is 0. Plus 1, which is 1. I'm now going to start multiplying by 3. Because I'm moving one place value over, I need to fill in with the 0 so that I'm starting one place over. 3 times 9 is 27. Carry 2. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 2, which is 2. I'm going to go ahead and add. 8 plus 0 is 8. 1 plus 7 is 8. And nothing plus 2 is 2. It doesn't make sense that Trey has walked his dog for 288 miles, so that means I need to remember to put my decimal point in the answer. The way that we figure that out is by counting the number of decimal places there are in the two numbers that we are multiplying together. So if I look at 9/10, see the decimal point there, and I see that there's one number behind that decimal point. So I'm going to write a 1 there because there's one decimal place in 9/10. So now let's take a look at 32. I do not see a decimal point in 32, so that means that there are no numbers behind it. So I'm going to write 0 there because there are no numbers behind the decimal point in 32 because there's no decimal point. So that means my answer is going to have 1 plus 0 decimal places. That means it's going to have 1 decimal place. So let's go ahead and put that. We're going to start here, and then we're going to put it right there, which is 1 spot over. So that means that Trey will walk his dog 28 8/10 miles in 32 days. I can check for reasonableness by rounding. I know that 9/10 miles is really close to 1 mile. And if he walks his dog 1 mile every day for 32 days, that's 1 times 32, which is 32 miles. 28 8/10 miles is pretty close to 32 miles, so I'm very confident that 28 8/10 miles is the correct and final answer. Let's move on to this second problem. This problem looks a little bit different. It says, if the value of each small square shown above is 63 hundredths, then what is the value of all of the squares combined? So let's think about this. It's telling me that each small square, for example that, the value is 63 hundredths. So it seems like to solve this problem, I need to figure out how many small squares there are, and then multiply that by 63 hundredths. So let's see how many small squares there are. Looks like in each of these rods there are 10 small squares altogether. So I'm going to put 10 and 10 and 10. So that's 30 squares right there. And I know that in this flat that's going to be 100 because there are 10 squares that way and 10 squares that way, and I know that there are going to be 100 altogether. So that's 100 squares there. So that means that there are 130 squares altogether. So I'm going to write 130 small squares. Each of those small squares is worth 63 hundredths. So I'm going to do 63 hundredths times 130, or 130 times 63 hundredths. I'm going to set that up. 130 times 63 hundredths. Again, notice I did not bother to line up my decimal points because afterwards I will place my decimal point in the answer. So let's go ahead and start with our multiplication. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. Let's start multiplying by that 6. I'm going to move one spot over in the next line. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1, which is 7. I'm going to go ahead and add. 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 0 is 9. 3 plus 8 is 11. Carry 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. My answer is not going to be 8,190. I need to place my decimal point. So let's go ahead and count how many decimal places are in our multiplicands, the numbers that we are multiplying together. I do not see a decimal point in 130, so that means that there is 0 numbers behind the decimal point. And in 63 hundredths, I see 2 numbers. I see 6 and 3 behind the decimal points. That's 2 numbers behind the decimal point. 0 plus 2 is 2. So that means in my final answer, I'm going to have 2 decimal places. So let's go ahead and place our decimal point. I'm going to start here, move over 1, and 1 more to make 2. So that means our final answer is 81 and 90 hundredths, or just 81 and 9 tenths. I hope this video for multiplying decimals was helpful to you. Good luck in your studying for the IA.